Welcome to transportation. I will give you a heads up that we will not be executing 571 today. I still have a couple of people that I'd like to talk to before we move ahead with it. So with that, Senator Sherman, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, so I will open the hearing on House Bill, which one comes first? 54. It's in order. House Bill 1554, relative to online payment of fees relating to the operation of off-highway recreational vehicles and snowmobiles, and the prime sponsor,
Morning, good afternoon, Park.
Representative Egan.
How are you?
Welcome.
My apologies.
Not a problem. We're all there. Give it some time.
Good morning, good afternoon. Tim Egan, Grafton 2, Franconia, Sugar Hill, Lisbon, Lyman, Monroe. Appreciate you making some time this afternoon. So, to keep things simple and efficient for today, House Bill 1554, which was a bill relative to online payment of fees relating to the operation of off-highway recreational vehicles and snowmobiles, came out of the Committee for Resources, Recreation, and Development, with a unanimous vote of 21-0, and was put on the consent calendar and passed through the House. The goal of the bill was to direct the Fish and Game Commission to create an online portal for OHRVs and snowmobile registration only. So it's important that the committee understood that, and they were unanimous in their support, that the bill will allow the state, for in-state residents and visitors from out of state, to enjoy tourism options and easily renew their OHRV snowmobile using internet commerce. And as much as we would want them to use internet commerce, we also don't want to deny anyone the opportunity to go into their places that they've been visiting in the past, whether they're big shops or they're rental houses, and be able to still do online, in-person registration if so interested. But this bill is enabling legislation that allows Fish and Game to work to ensure that all OHRV and snowmobiles are registered, that allow them to better track the registration data, thus they'll be able to manage staffing demands, support for local dealers who face registration pressures. Say, for example, in the night before a snowstorm, a lot of folks want to come, and if they haven't registered their snowmobile yet, they're all in the shops, and it can be overwhelming, so it gives them an option. So they could, if they're visiting from out of the state, you could online register in advance. And it allows them for Fish and Game to work with the OHRV and snowmobile riding clubs to make sure that all the riders are operating safe machines so that they're adequately registered. So that's the bill at hand, and I know that I've spoken in advance with the senator about potentially an amendment. There was a clerical error in OLS that in the amendment it says place within 60 days, but it's supposed to, it's to include that this should take place and instruct the director to have it take place by 2025, because Fish and Game is having a new vendor turnover in their contract. So it would make sense for them to start this, then have a new infrastructure IT vendor come in, and then have to start all over again. Probably the most important thing that I didn't leave out was that this was done at the direction of working with Fish and Game, with Director Mason, Colonel Jordan, Captain Eastman, and in conjunction with the New Hampshire Archery Association, New Hampshire Snowmobile Association, and New Hampshire Auto Dealers. This was something that everyone felt that the industry needed to have, or fishing needed to have, to better serve the industry, not only our in-state residents, but as well to potentially capture more out-of-state tourism business for folks that couldn't register their snowmobiles and boat RVs anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
My apologies.
Just to clarify, so you want the effective date to be January 2025?
Correct.
Okay.
And if I may ask, Mr. Chairman, did you get an amendment that I had drafted to do this? Do you have it?
I need the list.
I just wanted to make sure we.
Yes, I did. There was one from Representative Egan that I did hand out. There was another one that Senator Hennessy wanted to do.
I think I submitted one. Did you get that yet?
I did.
Do you have it with you? Oh, I didn't get a copy of that. I see that my colleague here has it, but I didn't get one.
I don't have it either. Oh, 458.
She has the one that I had drafted. I just want to make sure that,
I have this one.
I just want to make sure that we got it right. Okay, so I'll bring it up.
Yep. Yep. September 1st, 2025. Yep.
Because this was your original one, but then what got added did not include the two.
Correct, that was the,
Was this clear? I think this is,
yeah, as long as it's,
so this is the one we want.
Yes, that
Okay.
looks good to us.
Good.
yep.
This is the one we want.
045. good to go. Just make sure you're, Yep.
All right. There we go. Good afternoon, Chair Birdsell and members of the Senate Transportation Committee. My name is Brian Labrie, and I serve as the Legislative Chair for the New Hampshire Snowmobile Association, NHSA. I appear before the committee today to convey NHSA's support for House Bill 1554. I'd like to read a brief prepared statement from the New Hampshire Snowmobile Association. By way of background, since its founding in 1969, NHSA has worked with each of the independently incorporated local snowmobile clubs to provide a unified voice to speak for the sport of snowmobiling and to promote it as safe family recreation. The NHSA is comprised of all segments of snowmobiling, including clubs, club members, distributors, and dealers. Today, there are 100 local snowmobile clubs and over 26,000 active members that belong to NHSA. Initially, I'd like to thank Representative Tim Egan for his outreach regarding the bill and his interest in helping sustain outdoor recreation and tourism. NHSA has long supported an online option to initially register and renew registrations. This option would be intended to supplement but not supersede the in-person option provided by numerous registration agents across the state. The state's registration agents are a key component to the registration process and must be retained. In neighboring states and provinces, this online option has existed for many years, and unfortunately, New Hampshire is way behind the curve. For reference, the attached listing provides an overview of the online registration opportunities in neighboring states. There are several key reasons why NHSA supports moving forward the online option for registering snowmobiles. Number one, competitiveness with surrounding states and Canadian provinces. Snowmobiles are accustomed to traveling to various states and into Canada to enjoy the trail systems. New Hampshire should look to make it as easy as possible to register a snowmobile online. Otherwise, tourism will suffer as consumers may choose a surrounding state to ride that offers more convenient registration options. Number two, avoiding COVID-19 in-person restrictions. COVID-19 has obviously impacted business processes, both in public and private sectors. Should any additional unforeseen viruses create new challenges, in-person or mail-in options will not work. If the restrictions that inhibit existing registration agents for interacting with the public, there will be no safe options for individuals to register their snowmobiles. An online option ensures that a registration can be completed without the need for individuals to interact directly. Lastly, number three, interacting with New Hampshire state government online is very common. Currently, Fish and Game provides an opportunity for individuals to purchase hunting and fishing licenses online, in addition to Safe Hike cards. The state park system also uses an online platform to book campsites, and recently the Department of Revenue Administration unveiled a new online tax payment portal. NHSA, along with the entire snowmobile community, believes it is time for the registration process to align with many of the other existing processes currently in place with New Hampshire state government. In closing, New Hampshire lags behind the region in offering this convenient, safe online registration option. We believe now is the time to move forward. So with all that said, I'd be happy to attempt to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions from the committee?
Good.
Seeing none.
Thank you.
Richard Parsons.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Richard Parsons. I'm here representing the New Hampshire Off-Highway Vehicle Association. We are supportive of the bill for many of the same reasons the Snowmobile Association just mentioned. We met with them as well as Fish and Game over the summer and had very productive conversations. We understand why they want to change the effective date, and we're okay and supportive of that change. We also are supportive of Senator Hennessy's amendment to the grant and aid program. It was done last year in the budget for 1 year, but this would extend it out to what we got during the pandemic to be able to actually spend them on trail maintenance. And so with that, I'll keep it very short. I mean, we think this is would be great to be able to ride between Vermont and New Hampshire in the same day or to the Canadian provinces, and would just help further enhance the system we currently have in place.
Any questions from the committee?
Madam Chair, I don't have a copy of Senator Hennessy's amendment either.
Well, we don't, it's not an amendment, it's just verbiage because the OLS is down. So,
In the fullness of time, thank you.
yeah, I'll go over it with you.
But once that becomes available, I'll be able to distribute it to the committee.
You want to take a look at it, though? Dan Bennett. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. I will be brief. Dan Bennett, New Hampshire Auto Dealers Association. I'm here before you today on behalf of our 40 or so OHRV dealers, both snowmobile and ATV. We are supportive of this legislation as we were in the House, and just wanted to reiterate a point that the sponsor that Representative Egan mentioned and the Snowmobile Association mentioned as well, as we are strong supporters of a dual system where there's both online and in person. You can't account for snowstorms, and sometimes people buy sleds and they want to ride them that day. So we hope that if there's any way to maybe indicate in the legislative or historical record that you support both in person as well as online registration, that would be great. Even if it's just a historical marker for future agency folks. So. As mentioned, we're very supportive of the legislation. We appreciate the sponsor including us in the voice be heard, and we look forward to seeing the amendments as well.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here that has not signed up but would like to speak on House Bill 1554? Sure. Can I have a member of Fish and Game come up? Thank you.
Hi, Ken. Good. So my question is that September 2025 is pretty far out, and I completely get why we're waiting that long. Is there anything we can do in the meantime for the next 2 seasons to get us, is that right, 2 seasons? Yeah. 2 seasons to get us online, some kind of transitional way of, clearly there's a need, and clearly we need to have both. But is there any way to get us online temporarily without a huge outlay of cash?
Unfortunately, I don't think that there is.
Captain, can you?
I don't think that there is without what it would cost to get that program operating, so just for that short amount of time.
All right, so that was my only question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here that would like to speak on 1554? Okay, with that, I will end the hearing on 1554 and immediately open the hearing on 1020 relative to additional lights on emergency vehicles. And do we have the prime sponsor here? That would be Representative Trottier? Nope.
Would you like me to introduce it?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator David Waters, District 4, introducing House Bill 1020. And what this bill would do would enable police and fire to affix red or blue lights on their vehicles as an additional safety matter in compliance with the appropriate federal and state standards to do so. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Waters. Since no one has signed up to speak, is there anyone that just came in that would like to speak on House Bill 1020? Actually. Representative Walsh? Would you, are you familiar with House Bill 1020? Oh, okay, all right. Well,
Can I ask you?
I think we're good to go. We've talked about this other time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just didn't know that, so it's necessary, obviously, but
I just had some questions, but, okay. With that, I'll end the hearing on 1020. That might be the fastest hearing we've ever had. And 1:30, where, do you want to go in, do you want to executive?
I don't know, do you? I mean, we
Not
could do
yet.
this one, right?
Okay,
I'll move exec.
okay. All those in favor of exec, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll move on to pass on 1020.
Senator Waters moves ought to pass. Senator Sherman seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Consent.
Second. All those in favor of consent?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Senator Waters, you want to take this on?
Sure.
Second. All those in favor of moving out of consent, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We are in recess until 1:30.
If we, do you think we're going to get the amendments on 1554 before we're done today, or is it just?
No, I think the system has been down,
So-
the internet's been down all day. We could do it if you wanted.
Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, I think Hennessy's is fine, and we'll do the.
I
No,
do.
wouldn't- Yeah, maybe Peter could get, well, when we get them done, but he certainly should get us my amendment. So,
We can combine the two into a committee amendment.
yeah, we'll just do that.
You know, there was a discussion about making sure that the will Senate is intact. So that, in other words,
I was going to say, we'll have Peter put it in
In
the
the
floor
remarks.
remarks. That's all we're going to do.
we don't need it in the amendments.
No, hey, Norm. How are you? It's good to see you. It's a deja vu all over again, my friend. How many times? I'm trying to think, what was that commission we were on and the
Peter?
committee?
Can you make copies of this for
You know what they say about leading a horse?
before it goes into OLM?
Of course, what are the vehicle miles traveled on a horse? That's the question.
Not back, because I can't even do stuff on my phone.
You don't have data on your phone?
It's not working.
Even data?
Well, I don't
My
know how
phone's
to make
been
it work.
working.
I don't know.
I don't even know if mine is.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
have-
not, I only have a couple bars, but I
Yeah,
believe
'cause
it's
I-
the phone, yeah.
I don't know why. It should work when I don't have Wi-Fi, but it's not.
Seriously, people.
I hope your Wi-Fi was working last week to see that the poodle was fast closing in on Lab as favorite dog in America.
Yes!
Yes, all right, so I thought you didn't see it, you ought to know.
Well,
So if you just get 1,000 more, it'll catch up, right?
I don't know. She's had me up at 5 o'clock this morning throwing up, again at 8:30.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
Which I am not going to do, but
I have no idea.
why they're doing that.
Check with Jeff. Thank you. Just in,
Thank you. Oh,
just an FYI, I have talked to DOT. They're gonna be doing a presentation on the 10-year plan, next week, first thing. Is the 10-year plan,
To us, or?
Yeah, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So,
no. I heard. Tearing down, what?
yeah.
Tearing down justice? You can't do that.
Well, and the thing is, it will not go into the capital budget.
Whose idea is this? heard about it yesterday.
You know what he
I'm getting email constituents asking me about it, and they're saying to me, don't you think you have other priorities?
We'll just spend all that money on the deck down there too. I mean, look, I was in the house, enjoy every time I had to walk down there. Not every time, but so, you know, because this state house complex.
What are we gonna do with justice? You're just talking about. Yeah, you're gonna rip this
I-
down, build something new.
I've been getting a lot.
What are we gonna do with justice?
And I've been getting,
I have no idea.
All I heard was that they're gonna tear it down and put it in the parking lot.
Isn't there a song about that?
Yeah, take care of that.
I mean, this campus.
So
these
I'm-
buildings, you know, is a really special place.
I'm getting people emailing me, asking me what my thoughts are, and aren't there better, more better priorities? And I don't even know how to respond, because I don't even have enough information. No, it's the house, but I mean, it seems like it passed or something, I heard.
What?
With the garage thing.
That's not in the 10-year plan.
No, but I think it's,
I have no idea.
I thought it was an amendment on a House bill. That's what I read.
According to an article I read,
I saw that they were trying to set it in
that's what I read.
yeah, which is, to me, it's crazy.
Yeah, I read they were trying to put it in the 10-year plan, slip it in that way.
I'm going to start this all over again. Go ahead, sit down, Representative. I'm starting the hearing on House Bill 1040, establishing a commission to study revenue alternatives to the road toll for the funding of improvements to the state's highways and bridges. Welcome to the prime sponsor, Representative Major. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Norman Major. I represent Rockingham County District 14. I'm here to present House Bill 1040, establishing a commission to study revenue alternatives to the road toll for funding and improvements to the state highway and bridges and the resulting improvements to the environment. And that's, as you know, over the years, I've been sponsoring the road usage fee, but that's one way of helping to resolve the loss of the gas tax due to the cars becoming more efficient, buying less gas. because something like about 2010, actually, about 2010, the highway fund was running around 120 million. And now it's still stable. There's been a big increase in motor vehicles, and the miles per gallon has been going up. And therefore, and that's all because of the vehicles becoming more efficient. What I've given you is two handouts. I'm not going to go through these. I'm just going to summarize what they are. There's a Word document. On the Word document, page 1 to 3, are bullets, essentially of what the road usage fee was, what I had proposed in January to the Public Works. And then on page 3, the third bullet starts with page 3. Starts with identifying the roads and bridges and the problems with the roads and bridges. And they go through page 4. On page 4, you have the New Hampshire Department of Transportation received a grant from the federal government for $250,000, and they matched it with toll revenues, toll credits, toll credits. And what that was able to do was to be able to do a complete analysis of the road usage fee. And I'll show you what that was as we go on. The next thing I want to show you is on page 5 of the handout. It shows the energy-related carbon dioxide emission by sector. And one of the important things is, prior to 2020, the electric power industry was the biggest emitter of carbon dioxide. But now, transportation has overcome, as you can see, from 2020 on, transportation is the leading cause. So if we take and encourage the use of non-combustible engines in the future, the more we do that, we're going to knock down the emissions from transportation. Because on transportation, most of it's coming from light-duty vehicles. I mean, regular cars and like trucks. They represent about 93% of the miles traveled in New Hampshire. 7% of the miles traveled in New Hampshire is the big trucks. So the light-duty vehicles is the biggest emitter of carbon dioxide. So if we can get the environmentalists behind this bill, it will help sell it so that we can go ahead and go to another method that will reduce the gas-driven vehicles. On page 5, I put together a list of interesting information relative to fuel-efficient vehicles. That will go all the way to page 8, and that's so you can peruse that. There's every country, I should say modern country, and most of your large businesses involved with transportation as far as making the vehicles and that are going towards something different than gas-operated vehicles. And this will give you an idea of what's going on. On the last page, one of the methods of resolving this issue was this road usage fee. And I've just summarized what the results would be. And this was provided in January, and therefore the gas was only $3.20 a gallon at that point in time. So the first figure there shows that at average of 20 miles per gallon, you're going to, for 12,000 miles traveled, you're going to use, they would generate $1.57 million, which is a 42% increase of $46.7 million increase. Now, over the last 10 years, the road toll has been dropping. Here's something that will go up, and I'll show you later. If we go to the figures, on slide 3, we'll show you how the road toll has been varying over the years. Oops. And the big bump in the year 2010 through 2018 was due because there was gimmicks that would keep funding the road toll, such as shown on page 4. And these gimmicks were, at one time, we had a $30 surcharge, which was taken away. We sold the turnpike. We sold the part of our highway system to the turnpike system. That turnpike system then paid so much a month, as you can see, 30 million in 10, 20, 26 million in 12, 26, and then it paid it all off by 2017. So that wasn't helping us anymore. And then we got to we were really in trouble, and we started supplying it with the general fund. On 5, 6, and 7, 5, 6, and 7, shows you the amount of gallons used and the miles per gallon on the average. Slides 9 to 14 are related to the condition and cost of maintenance of the highway bridges. 15 through 18 described or associated with the concept of the road usage fee. And why I'm doing this is because it doesn't have to be just the road usage fee. It could be a hydrogen run or some other mechanism or some other technology. Slide 19 is important because that shows you the average miles driven by a driver in New Hampshire. In 2014, it was 12,931 miles. I used 12,000 miles in my computation to be conservative. Slide 20 and 22 are the spreadsheets that if you take the number of vehicles that are in the various slots of efficiency, and as you can see in the spreadsheet on the top, operating at 12,000 miles, that they would produce a total of $26.2 million worth of revenue right now. Then part of this road usage fee that for every registration, the town clerk gets $1, so you have to subtract that. So the subtotal is 25 million. And then 12% of that goes to the municipality, 3 million, and we're left with 22 million that goes to the highway fund. And then slide 23 just tells you the advantage of this system versus another system. Another system could be the miles traveled. To do a miles traveled, it gets more complicated. You have to have a GPS and track it that way. Not only would you have to have a GPS, but you have to have an army of people to administer it. Where the road usage fee, you do not need any new people, because it would be the town clerk, once the Department of Safety takes the miles per gallon on vehicles and meshes it with the vehicle, meshes it with the VIN number of the vehicle. So and once you do that, then the clerk knows how much to charge for the road usage fee. And then slides 25 to 29 is the result of the essentially $500,000 study. And it shows you that on slide 25, the road toll is relatively flat over the last few years. And this is what it would do, minimum and maximum. But the upper lines that are dotted and slashed shows you that it's the increase you have each year. So it would make up what you would normally lose. And then '27, '28, and '29 just gives you an idea, on 27, how much goes to the road usage fee and how much for the fuel. And 28 is your total cost at different miles per gallon of the road usage fee, which would be the blue. I'm sorry, the gas tax, which is the blue. The road usage fee would be the hash between that and the orange lines. And then the last one is no gas, but the cost of the electricity and the road usage fee. And then is it fair? This would be the average annual fuel tax plus the road usage fee by miles per gallon traveled. And this really worked out pretty well because, and it's fair, about everybody's paying about the same amount for support of roads and bridges. But I think it's very important that we pass studying this thing through a commission, not only this concept, but the concept of doing weights, only doing the miles driven, and who knows what technology will come along 5 years from now, which makes everything completely different. So I'll take questions.
Any questions from the committee? Senator Waters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Major. Great set of information here as always, and I love the updates on all the figures about electric vehicles and this and that and the other thing. I had just a couple of particular questions on the bill itself. That it'd be okay with you if we just had one senator? Used to that question, aren't you?
I am used to that question, yes.
We know that one senator is worth how many House members? I won't go into it.
As long as it's a senator that really gets involved. This is extremely important for the state.
And another more serious question. I'm down around line 24. And One of the things that I've thought about in terms of anything we try to do, and knowing that, you know, for example, I think the statistics are that, you know, particular times of the year, the Dover, Rochester, you know, Spalding Turnpike, maybe about half the cars are coming up from out of state or out of state plates, and you know that's certainly the case in a lot of areas, and that if they're no longer paying the road toll at the pump, what do we do about that revenue? So I wondered if you would consider an amendment here that might add there on line 24, and considering vehicles registered out of state that would no longer be subject to the road toll.
Sure.
So that we'd get some picture of the revenue situation
I
there.
think it's important because you got about, what, 15% that would normally be buying gas here.
Okay, thank you.
Can you repeat that?
Oh, I can't when we get to exec or, here, let me just show you, I wrote it down. Here, if you can read my writing, you can copy it.
If we're gonna do a commission, might as well cover everything.
Okay. Any other, Senator Sherman?
Just on the amendment frenzy that we've seen. Representative, I don't see, unless I'm missing it, where legislative members get their miles paid for.
Line 19.
You got it?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, that's important.
That's always been my job on these, is to
I see.
find that, yeah.
Okay.
I won't be that one senator, though.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay. Thank you, Representative, very much for this info.
I apologize for being kind of erratic, but to do this properly needs the time to do it.
That's
Go through
fine.
everything.
You did a great job.
Right, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, Representative. Bruce Quideni? Sorry. Hope I didn't butcher it too much.
You actually did that just about perfectly.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'll be very brief. I'm Bruce Clendenning, for the record. I'm the Energy Policy Manager at the Nature Conservancy here in New Hampshire. I hope I'll make Representative Major happy when I say that in general, we're supportive of this bill. We think this approach is the right way to go about this, to really examine all the issues thoroughly and carefully before the legislature makes such an important decision on exactly how to do this. We have one suggestion that we hope will be taken into consideration. We think commission is the right way to do this. We think it would be excellent to include a member of a nonprofit organization on that commission. That's really about it. We're very supportive in general of this. We really do agree it's very important for everyone to pay their fair share, and we think going about this in a careful way is the right way to go.
Thank you. Any questions, Senator Waters?
Yes, and probably that member would be appointed by the governor?
That would make sense to me, and,
Okay,
you know, I'm not saying it needs to be the Nature Conservancy in this room. There are two organizations represented that would be quite appropriate, and there may well be others.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kelly Buchanan?
Good
Wel-
afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the committee, Madam Chair. My name is Kelly Buchanan, and I am Director of Legislative and Regulatory Affairs at Clean Energy New Hampshire. I have very brief written testimony for you today, but I will keep it short because the message is simple. Clean Energy New Hampshire supports this bill, and I would also agree with my colleague Bruce's suggestion that we include a nonprofit nominee. I will highlight for you that Clean Energy New Hampshire founded and manages a coalition of EV advocates through Drive Electric New Hampshire, and the mission of that organization is to accelerate the adoption of EVs and the installation of the supporting infrastructure that's required for EVs. And that goal is primarily conducted through education and outreach. And so we are supportive of House Bill 1040 because it's an appropriate approach to determining an alternative to paying the fair share for EVs, which we think is entirely appropriate. It's a good idea to do right now because the adoption of EVs in New Hampshire is still relatively nascent, relatively low, and it would be an opportune time to gather the stakeholders to come up with a consensus solution, which may look like an alternative to a road toll, or maybe something else that, comes out of that commission. But very supportive, glad to take any questions if you have them, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Senator Sherman.
Thank you so much for your testimony. And I'm not sure if you're the right person to ask, but wondering, other states have already moved in this direction. Is that correct?
I believe so. I need to gather some more information about the specifics of how other states have moved.
So while you're
Follow-up?
doing that, if I could follow up, while you're doing that, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind helping with Senator Waters' question. I'm sure you can bring this to the commission if this should happen, but this has always been one of the big stumbling blocks since I've been in the legislature. We've been looking at these alternatives, and it's how do we make sure that we're not putting the burden on in-state residents, but that it's being shared with the tourists that are coming in or out-of-staters. So it would be great if you could also bring that information to the commission.
That's a good point, and it's important to highlight, especially because New Hampshire is one of those states that people like to come to, and tourism is a big part of our local economy, so important to highlight that.
Maybe we could put the road toll on alcohol purchased at the liquor stores. How about that?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Some biofuel.
We are talking about putting EV charging infrastructure at those liquor stores, so not out of the realm of opportunity.
Another, if no one else has any questions, the one thing I would also ask you to look into if you're going to do a little bit of background work, how would those states handle, let's just say when I go down to visit my sister in Florida, now that's pretty close to 3,000, 4,000 miles.
Quite a distance.
Since I'm not using the roads in New Hampshire, how do other states handle a situation like that?
All right. I would be glad to look into that for you.
Thanks. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
I see there are two members of DOT. Do you want, you haven't chosen to speak, and I get it. Is there anything you want to add?
No, only if there are any questions for the DOT, we'll be able to answer any questions.
Okay.
We're supportive of the study commission.
Great. All right. Is there anyone here that would like to speak that haven't been given the opportunity? With that, I will close the hearing on House Bill 1040.
The way the other states have, you buy gas down there, they pay the federal toll and pay their state toll.
Well, I know, but if you
Nobody else Oregon.
Love to link them up with you.
To get out of the.
Do you have the rest of those?
I do, yes. Do you want to keep them until?
I think you're probably aware we got plan to US DOT by August.
I am aware. I know our executive director, Sam Brown, has been in touch with Commissioner.
Okay, so it's better, yeah, let's link up the, let's link you guys up at the work, at the actual working level too.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, okay,
I
great.
know we have a lot of input on that level, and we can make your lives easier.
We always like that.
Yeah.
Nice
Share
to
the
meet
resources.
you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Do you want to give that to him? You want me to give it to him?
Yeah, I can, okay. Thank you.
Back 35% was, that's when the thought of changing it to 70 and matching left and rear tint would be prudent.
Just to give an example, if you look at a vehicle that has that color window, that's about an 18%. 35% is very, very dark. And so we just wondered what that was doing on the windshields, even with a medical condition, especially at night. It just seems like a very, very dark tint for nighttime. So all we did, and again, I thought this was going to be a housekeeping measure, was to match the aftermarket tint on the windshield at 70 to the aftermarket tint allowance of 70 on the windows left and right. That's all this does.
Senator Waters.
Yeah, thanks. There's nothing ever simple, is it?
No,
You
it's
know, and I thought,
unbelievable.
perhaps the most monumental thing the legislature did in the last 2 years was settle the tinting thing.
I know.
It was
We were
right
proud
up
of
there
it.
with decals and plates.
But it's not good enough.
But anyways, let me just get to the point here. If you did seek pretty conclusive testimony from folks that for folks with certain medical conditions, this created a problem, would you have imagined that then maybe we would allow the medical exemption to continue?
Well, the medical condition does continue. All it does is change the tint level from 35 to 70. We received no testimony from anybody with the waiver or seeking a waiver for the windshield tint. And according to former Director Bilecki, it's used very rarely. She couldn't remember the last time it was.
Thank you. I just because we've heard a little bit, I just wanted to reference that if folks who had a medical condition where that 35% really meant something, you'd understand that.
Oh, yeah, if they would, but we heard nothing. And again, it's very rarely used. And so just looking at the research we did based on how dark 35 actually is for at nighttime, we decided to make the adjustment to the 70. That's what we did. It doesn't necessarily mean that needs to stand.
Senator Sherman.
Thanks, and thanks for coming and presenting this. So just to be clear, I can't imagine law enforcement is thrilled with keeping 35 in there. They would prefer 70, or are they signed up to testify, or?
They're not signed in to testify.
I remember from the last bill, when we did this last time, that there was a lot of concern from these very dark windows from law enforcement, and that was one of the reasons why we put that cap on it, was just the idea of approaching a car where you can't see, but also sounds like it's, it really could impair visibility. So I'd love to get a formal opinion in the record if that's okay.
No problem. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
No. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none. Thank you, Representative.
All right, thanks again.
No one else has signed up to speak, but if we could. Yes, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Scott Atherton. I'm a sergeant with New Hampshire State Police, assigned to Troop G. We work hand in hand with the DMV with all this, these legislative bills like this. But yes, the tinted, I think the reasoning behind this, I think somebody misinterpreted it when they passed it. I think the intent was to get everything done at 35%. And I think maybe they were thinking this, whatever reason, maybe just a 6-inch strip at the top, but it didn't. So they wanted to just try and match it so that everything's 35%, because yes, we do understand that people have medical conditions and they can get waivers for that. But it is, on a law enforcement side, it makes it very hard to see into a vehicle that has dark windows, even if it is just the front windshield. Even with just the sides and the front not tinted, when the sides used to be able to be tinted, it was still very hard to see into that vehicle. So I think the intent was to match this all the way around, 35% in the sides and in the front. And I would definitely oppose not doing this, because I think that 70%, that 35% on the front windshield, even if the sides aren't, makes it very dark in there and hard to see. Even on security cameras, so if incidents happen and we need to look at security cameras, we can't identify people sitting behind them inside that vehicle. So police as a whole, I think, would be very opposed to keeping tint at 35% on the front windshield.
Senator Sherman.
Just quick follow-up. So that's looking in, looking out. Is there a concern about the danger of it being that tinted, especially at night?
Yeah, so I equate it to like a motorcycle shield. If anybody's ever ridden a bicycle or something at night and or even your sunglasses, there's a point where you want to take them off when you're in your car because it's hard to see. And I imagine that front windshield being all dark would affect somebody at night trying to drive. I remember when I was a teenager, I wasn't supposed to have them, but I had tinted covers on my headlights. They were great during the day, but I couldn't see anything at night, so you had to take them off because you couldn't see. So I imagine it. I had never had a tinted front windshield, but I have on my motorcycle, I've had a shield and I've had glasses, so I imagine it's the same effect. It's hard to see, and you have to take it off. So I never understood that to begin with, how you could do your front windshield. And I asked that question years ago, and they're like, oh, it's because their eyes are sensitive. I'm like, well, they make sunglasses. Wear sunglasses. So yes, it does make it hard. I would think it would make it hard to see at night.
Senator Waters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just to clarify, we used to have no tinting allowed. So that meant 100% light transmittance. What the bill did last year was go to 70%. At that time, law enforcement was split about whether they wanted any tinting at all. We set it on 70%. What was left out was that the medical waiver was at 35%, which is a much darker tint. So this bill is saying that waiver is gone, everything is now at the 70%. So that's where we're at now for everybody except for the medical waiver is 70% light transmittance. So we're not talking about going everything to 35% because that's darker.
Correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to
Yes.
get that clear.
Yes, 'cause
So the issue here is we're at 70% for everything except for this waiver for folks who have a medical exemption and can have darker on the side windows. This is not about the front windshield at all. It's about the side windows, as I
It's about the
understand it.
side,
So
yes.
is that correct?
Well, no, the waiver, they can get the waiver now for the front window. The front windshield can be tilted up to 35%. We want it to be 70%. Because it's less. It's the higher the number, the lighter. Your stock windshield is almost, it's like 75%. So it's almost not putting any tint on the front windshield.
The higher the percentage, the more light comes through.
Correct, so it's the lighter the tint.
All right. So what you're saying is that you would like this 35% to go to 70%.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry if that didn't come off the
Yeah,
right
no,
way.
I got it.
It can get confusing because
It gets
a lot
confusing
of people
for
think
me, so.
70%, they think now they can have 30%, they can have darker. I'm like, no, that's not how it reads.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. I have no one else here that wants to testify. Is there anyone here that would like to testify that wasn't given the opportunity? So we have, in favor, we have Dan Bennett, Representative Larry Gagne, and Sergeant, well, you already spoke. All right, with that, I will close the hearing on House Bill 1110. And what time is it? 2 o'clock. And we will, in just a few minutes, give Peter some time to get adjusted, and me. And we'll start the hearing on 1160. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Just making everything the same. Okay. All right. We're going to have a 3-minute recess. He's going to make copies.
Will we also have copies of my amendment?
Isn't everybody?
All right, let's try this again. We're running a little late, so I will start the hearing on House Bill 1160, relative to obedience to signals at railroad crossings. And the prime sponsor, Representative.
And is it fairly rare, but it still happens, or?
It
where-
is fairly rare, and to answer your question, we do the best job we can to protect the equipment when we're in the work zone, but kind of a follow-up to her question is we also have what's called a travel mode, where we go from point A to point B, from one job site to another. And some of the equipment, some of our pieces in particular, are just shy of 100,000 pounds apiece. So it doesn't, if we're in travel mode going from point A to point B, they don't stop very quickly. Yeah.
Okay, you did answer my question, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone here that would like to speak that has not had the opportunity on House Bill 1160? Okay, we have in favor, we have Representative Gagne, Representative Tom Walsh, Matt Jusak, and Chuck Corliss. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, you got it right.
Awesome.
Pretty good. Nobody ever gets right.
All right, with that, I will close the hearing on House Bill 1160.
I told you to make up time. Senator, would the committee, like he did, prepare a document, would you like it?
Sure, just hand it to Peter and he'll get it to us. Did you want to speak?
I'm not
Okay.
I get very nervous.
Yeah. Yep, and we'll do a committee amendment on this one. Okay, Senator Waters moves exec, Senator Sherman seconds. All in favor of execing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Like I said, I'm going to hold off on the 517 or 571.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to a couple of people, but I think I'm going to try and plan on executing it next week.
Okay.
Get it out. So why don't we do House Bill, actually, since they're here, do we want to do 1160?
Move. We need not to pass first, then we can do the committee amendment, is that
Yeah.
right? So I move ought to pass.
I second.
Okay.
And I'll move committee amendment that on line 7 adds the words "or she."
Yep.
And I'm not going to worry about flagmen now, just forget about it.
All right.
So that will be the committee amendment, I'll move that.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the committee amendment, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
Ought to pass as
ought to-
amended.
Is that ought to pass as amended? I'll second. All those in favor of ought to pass as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Consent.
Move consent.
Second.
All right. All those in favor of consent, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll take it out if you like. I love trains.
My dad was a big
Just call me Chief.
B&M railroad guy.
Ah, really?
Okay.
Want to do 1110?
Sure, hold on.
Is that the one with the amendments?
No.
That's the 10th.
For the 10th?
So I'll move up to pass.
So I have a question about this.
Oh, wait a minute. Senator Sherman moves on to pass, Senator Ward seconds.
Senator Waters moved ought to pass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, didn't I say that?
No, you said
You said
Sherman.
Okay.
I just want to give credit where credit's due.
Senator Waters moves on to pass, Senator Ward seconds. All right, what was your question?
So my question, which I think was answered, was that anyone is allowed to tint to 35% on the sides.
No,
No,
70%.
70.
70.
So, I'm sorry, 70% on the sides, and with a medical waiver, you can go down to 35% on the front. And it's interesting, we have all this feedback, you know, on social, but we don't have any medical evidence that it needs to be as tight as 35%. And it seems to me that it would be dangerous to go to 35% from
And let me just say that the officer was wrong. This is not about tinting the front windshield. It's about the
Right.
side windows,
Yeah.
okay? It's not
Well,
about
the
the front.
Representative Walsh, you know, basically said that. This is about making everything
Yeah.
uniform.
And it's just like, so that if you want to do your side windows at 70, that's what everybody can do now.
And it was a
And-
request from the
Yes.
the
Yeah, I
department.
This was
I
just
just wanted to
overlooked
make
last
sure I
year
was
about
clear.
this 35 was lingering there in statute, so I think we just ought to do it.
Okay,
So,
you ready for the vote? We don't need an amendment on this one. No, we're good.
Can I ask a question of Senator Sherman?
Sure. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Who would need a medical exemption?
Well, I was thinking about that. It would be somebody with, you know, people have extreme light sensitivity. And so it'd be somebody, you've seen them with the one that affects the eyes,
it
that
hasn't
LIGO can.
affected me. So I think we're okay on this.
All right.
It's consistency.
Did we vote?
No.
Not yet. All those in favor of ought to pass, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent?
So moved.
Second? Sure.
Okay. All those in favor of consent, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, I'll take this one out.
So,
Who's taking it out?
I am.
are we ready on?
Do you want to take it out?
I'd be happy to.
All right, Senator Ward. Sorry.
No, it's Marie. She's
Chance to
gonna
stand
kill me
up.
because now it's not on the little, the white square.
All right. 1554 is going to be a little bit more.
We just need a committee amendment. on
I
that.
will tell you what I'm thinking about, if you want to do it.
I'm happy
Why
to
not
do it.
clear the decks here?
Great
bill. Let me get that up here.
I do believe that we need, well, it's like, that's a fast-acting commission. It's got to be done by November 1st. Good luck.
No kidding.
There's a lot to study in this.
So what I would do, I mean, I'll move up to pass at 1040.
I'll second.
And then I'll move committee amendment. That will do two things. One is that on line, after line 18, we will add H.
Member of a nonprofit appointed by the governor.
Yeah, a member of, I would just say, a member of an energy or transportation-related nonprofit.
Okay, so
Do 1554?
So we
we
have,
need to vote on this.
on the committee amendment, is that what we vote on first?